All right, one more time. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk about my recent trip to America and to California, what I experienced there, how the whole thing was for me. Let's get this going. So, California was the start of a little tour that I had that was really cool for me because I returned to some places that I haven't been for a while. One of them being California, the United States. I started to write a book a couple of years ago. There's a lot of work done, but then, this is not like was not the highest priority at all times. But a lot of that book in the beginning is about my journey 12 years ago to America, in a time where I was just breaking through as an international artist, and that was really exciting for me. It really was a mind blowing trip. I got to know some people, and some people took care of me there. That made it possible. That was a long lasting, really impressionate experience for me as a human. So returning there almost exactly after 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, was a blast. That is clear. And I worked with a crew that is called Subterranean Dwellers there. I sent them my EPKs. The guys booked me. And then I was on my way there, finally made it to the United States, and was prepared to play, of course, a 6 hour set. So that was a really, really, really long set that was going on there. How was it? It was actually wholesome and quite tame for the most part. I stayed in a place outside of LA, and I bonded with the people that were living in that place, like, for example, Ethan, who's a guy that I'm still frequently working with and currently working on a project called Nova Spectrum with, where he is taking care of management and so forth. He became a good friend of mine and somebody that I learned to trust, and where I really enjoy his consistency and his mindset, which is very sober and at the same time really open-minded. So that was one of the really good things, finding a new friend. And I enjoyed the time there with my host Milan and Ethan and a friend of them, Jubin. We went out to Santa Monica Pier, and then ultimately the night came where I played, and that was indoor. What I find a bit unfortunate, but that was just like what the event was, which is unusual for California for sure. But it was an indoor event, and it was quite cool to play all my music, 6 hours long. Um, Really awesome experience, but not dramatically wild or anything. All that really came in after that, to be honest with you. This happened all after America. It got really wild because Mexico is just a wild place. What did I take from the trip? First of all, one thing, the American psytrance scene is still very, very, very in its infancy. It never took off there. And the parties there are still minuscule in size, and also the whole scene there is minuscule in size as well, which has good things to it, of course, and also bad things to it, but there's, I guess, not that much of a variety. If you look at places like Brazil or also Europe or even India or Australia, of that matter, like many other places, um, North America has a lot of space to grow, I believe, and to evolve. And this is just my assessment, of course, but it's an assessment that is informed by traveling to all the places where psytrance is played pretty much, except a few, or it depends on how you see it. But yeah, I only can say that. It was really cool to connect to the people there. I played twice. After that party, I played another time in Long Beach on a small event with some Brazilian people that were super sweet and very, very cool. and it was basically like a beach party in front of one of the people's houses. But I really enjoyed it, and some people couldn't make it to the main event, and they could make it there, and that was quite cool for them. And you can see it in the photographs that Ethan took. Ethan, of course, was always, as always, behind the camera. This man is so engaged. I love it. I really love that about him. You know, like here in my city, my friends, for example, it's very hard to make them do anything. Some of them also are like literally, they don't want to be creatives. Like Rick Rubin's book says like all people are creators. And that is true to a certain degree, of course. But there are some people that are more inclined to consuming stuff than creating it. This much I can say. And I love people who are engaging and trying to do things and trying to be creative and attempting things that might be hard or uncomfortable because the camera got stuck. Yeah, this is a thing with this Insta camera that happens. I'm really sorry for that. It was important because I got to know, as I said, Ethan, who is still a person who is helping me quite a bit and who I love to collaborate with. And we just are in the phase of launching all the content for Nova Spectrum now. So that is super awesome. If you're interested in that project, then please head over to Linktree/Nova Spectrum with a K, and you can check out a little bit about that project. What more is there to say about California? Yeah, California is great because the people are really great. It's like, okay, the psytrance scene might be not that big, but the people in that scene are very lovely people. All the people that I met were very, very, very awesome to me, including my hosts. They took very good care of me, to say the least. And it was an awesome kind of almost like protected feeling situation. The house where I lived outside, like a little bit outside of LA, northern LA, next to mountains and parks and so forth. Not parks, nature basically. It was just like at the border of the city, kind of in a very, very quiet, nicely kept place. It's also a thing that people, probably you have heard about the homelessness crisis in the United States. So you would have expected that I saw a lot of homeless people or encampments or anything like that. But I didn't see even one single homeless person during all my time in the United States, I believe. Not in Santa Monica, not in the place where I lived, and not even when we went to the party to play at the event, because that was downtown. And there were some encampments which I saw, which were like in the vicinity of the club. But there was nobody to be seen because the party was during the night, and you couldn't see any people. You could see their makeshift housing and so forth. This is what you could see. And yeah, I didn't see one single person. Also, what I did was despite the fact that I was in California a long time ago and got to know the cannabis industry there quite well from the inside in many cases, got an incredible insight into what was happening during the golden rush time over there. That was like 12 years ago. Yeah. This time I was just after I arrived, I went into a dispensary with my host, and it was the first time that I was in a dispensary, despite the fact that I already stayed a lot of time in Northern California or San Francisco Bay Area. But there was always so much high-grade stuff around because the place where I stayed was a place where travelers and cool people from the scene were going in and out, and they were just like dropping absolute gold just like that. Like it's like every day somebody came and brought 30, 40 grams, something like a proper amount, and just gave it to the house basically. Or in some cases they gave it to me and just like said like, yeah, it's for like, it's for you, it's for everybody. There was a surplus of that, so I never had to go to a dispensary when I was over there, and therefore this was my first dispensary experience, and it was super nice. As I said, the host took so incredibly well care of me. It was amazing. Good food. We went out to eat dosa. One of my hosts is an immigrant that came from India or was born in India. Really cool guy, Milan. And we went to eat dosa because I am the biggest fan of dosa in the world. I'm fanatic about it. I'm a connoisseur of dosa. I understand dosa. I claim because I ate thousands of them. It's like every single day, and this is not an overstatement. I've spent an intense amount of time in my life in India because I performed there an incredible amount of time. More than 20 times in the first years. In the first 2 or 3 years, I performed like 25 times in India, South India, and all over India, but with the base in South India. So I'm eating dosa every day if I'm in India, at least once. Actually, one dosa meal per day, in my opinion, is the perfect dose. You don't want to, it gets out of balance if you eat dosa twice a day, although it is amazing. It's made from lentils, from udu dal, I think a specific type of lentils, and I think maybe even rice comes into the batter. That stuff gets fermented and it gets served um, with kind of a stew and with three chutneys. So the stew is called samba, and if it's made right, it's actually a commoner's street food. Actually, it's not something fancy at all. It is in Germany. If you go to a dosa place, there is one chain in Germany. It's incredibly expensive here in India. It's something that everyday people eat. It's specifically something coming from South India. There are different varieties of dosa, like for example Mysore dosa, which comes with a special paste and a special spice. And also the chutneys are kind of locally inspired. So obviously, if you're eating dosa in, let's say, Mysore, it would taste different than in another South Indian city. All of the places give their own flavor. So have gone and eaten that. You see, like, just tell me dosa, and I'm going to give you a monologue about dosa. So we went to eat that. We went to eat vegan tacos, which was not too bad. Vegan burrito, I think, as well. Remembering my good times in San Francisco now a decade ago, where I ate a burrito daily in Mission District in San Francisco because there was a fantastic Mexican place just around there. Mission District is the Neukölln of San Francisco, you can say, which is a place where you have like young, hip artists mixed with migrants. It's typically a Mexican heritage dominated quarter of San Francisco. It was very beautiful when I was there. I am not sure how it is today. There is a homelessness crisis and a bipping crisis and so forth. So San Francisco today, I can't say much because I know everything from the internet. And if you are in those places, then it's all different. Like cameras show only one perspective. So as I said, I didn't see even one single person in California when I was in California. So I played the second time just before I left California. It was awesome. I I love this about my work that I got invited to all of those places in my life. I was in so many places that I naturally felt drawn to, as many people do, because they are amazing places, like Australia, or I could name so many places, Brazil, or Sri Lanka, or Nepal, Costa Rica, I got invited to those places because I gave something, my everything to something. That is the right way to say it. And it's amazing to bond with people. It's so important for me as an artist to have that balance in between hard work and then connection with people and being very social and, being around people more. And that was California for you. There is a video, actually, I tried to do a more kind of vlog style video, but vlogs are really not a thing in 2024. Let's face it, people like to listen to people now. And there you go, I have a mouth, I have a brain, so you can hear me speak. And yeah, thanks again for all the supporters out there. I appreciate everything good that you are doing. And I love you. Don't forget that you're beautiful. Subscribe to the channel, of course. We just hit the 3,000 mark, which is so cool. YouTube is my smallest social media. Facebook, I'm sitting around 24,000. Give me a follow there. I'm planning to ramp up the posting there as well. I hate the platform. It's a boomer-infested shithole, but nevertheless, it's an important platform. You all got yourself dragged into the blue hell, aka Facebook. So you're all stuck there, kind of. There are no independent forums anymore and so forth. So as an artist and as a public figure, as somebody who wants to contribute to society by creating art or anything like that, you're almost forced to do that. Almost, it feels like. Although I know people who successfully kind of, you know, did the opposite and are still successful. But yeah, it's just a way to get in touch with people. Nevertheless, give me a follow there. I'm going to start to post more often there now on Parandroid. Also, check out the Linktree. There is a new track called Pitchcraft out. It's just very recent, released 2 days ago. More tracks will follow now, also from Evernoise. And because the distribution got upgraded recently. So music is coming, and I'm not planning to sit on my tracks. I am really trying my best to become more organized in distributing my music. Why, you are asking? Why, Samuel, do you do some amazing stuff and then hide it from the world? It's quite frankly an inner battle that I think every artist goes through in a way. And you know, self-esteem is not always on top. It's just not the case, especially in a world where really bad people that don't have a lot to offer can have an incredibly loud voice and can distract people like me with their, you know, hate and toxicity a lot. And nobody really cares. It's also another thing. We live in a culture with amnesia. All the young people in our culture, they don't have any ways to learn about the past of the psychedelic trance movement. So much stuff is getting lost, and people just don't know where everything is coming from, who's who did what. You know, it doesn't matter if you have spent your life supporting such a culture. In some ways, it feels like so. But we don't want to end the video on such a horribly bad note. I'm doing good. The sun is coming finally out here in Germany. Don't forget, stay awesome. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let's see how that video performs. If it performs better than, you know, the way higher effort production kind of thing with editing and everything. My hint would be probably this performs better. Alright guys, more videos to come. I want to tell you the whole story about my trip to the United States, to Mexico, and to London. Because in Mexico, shit was getting extremely wild. And this is where the real adventure starts. So this is just like an introductory kind of section and a way for me to keep in touch with you. Peace out, and I see you guys next time. Cheerio!